Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account and we're going to be breaking down the latest dimensional hero that we have coming within AFK Arena, which we know is from the solo leveling crossover. So I want to hop over and see what it is. Now, a lot of players were kind of wondering, are they going to use the same methodology that we've seen with Marcio and Laios? Chances are it is probably going to be the exact same, and what we mean by that is you're going to redeem your resources for the chest. At that point, it's going to be roughly 28 days until you can redeem the chest and actually use the hero. So when we think bigger picture, when we have the dimensional heroes, it was in total 52 days before you could use the hero unless you purchase it. Now, again, traditionally they have one hero that is $15. The second hero is $50. So if you do spend $65, you can get both of them. And the big benefit for that, of course, when you look at the heroes, you do not have to wait that 52-day period before you actually have the ability to use the heroes. So let's hop over, guys, and I want to break this down with the skills and abilities that we have with this hero. So let's take a look at our first one. So it is Sung Jinwoo, the Shadow Monarch. Big shout out to the Tardos and Fursibo for popping this up on Discord. And I want to run through the skills and abilities. Now, right off the bat, it is a Ranger. So very interesting that we have an Agility Ranger here, and we have continuous damage and crowd control as a dimensional hero. Most of them that we've seen, probably from the last 3 or 4 iterations, have been best in slot in a lot of different formations. Even thinking right now of Marcio and Laios, still being used in a lot of different places. And it's going to be interesting to see because Ranger is really a hit or miss in formations. But let's run through these abilities. Starting with our left-hand side, we have Killer's Intuition. Now, the icons in here look awesome. Even looking at the very early kind of screens and everything we've seen for the hero, very cool looking. Unleashes Murderous Intent to frighten enemies, dealing damage equal to 350% of the attack rating to all enemies. Now, that is big because it is going to hit everyone and rendering them unable to move or use skills for 3 seconds. This is going to be huge in the Treasure Scramble. When it comes to PvP, this is probably going to be one of the big requirements because you have an incredible amount of crowd control. For this duration, the dodge of all enemies is reduced by 30 points. That really doesn't really make a big difference. 30 points of dodge, not going to be a game changer in there. Damage goes to 550 from 350, so another 200% increase. The duration in which enemies are unable to move goes to 5 seconds. Now, guys, 5 seconds in AFK Arena might not seem like a lot of time, but when you start cycling through and having the ultimate abilities faster and faster based on the formations that you have, 5 seconds can be and can lock down a lot of heroes for a duration. Then the dodge goes to 60. All right, so we have a little bit of damage and when they attack all, and we have some crowd control. The Indomitable Will. So affected by certain debuffs from enemy heroes or summons, their duration cannot exceed 2 seconds. That is a passive part of this. Don't know exactly what it's going to trigger. Most debuffs from enemy heroes will be cleansed immediately. Again, PvP, this is going to be huge. Every time one debuff from an enemy hero summons are cleansed, he gets health recovery, which again, not really huge as, you know, someone who's providing damage and crowd control. Self-healing is not really what I'm looking for in a hero. And then within 4 seconds after being affected by debuffs, he will land a guaranteed critical strike on the source of the debuff. That might make a big difference. Now, I don't like the secondary skill because it is triggered from the debuff. So if you're in a battle where you don't have any debuffs, unfortunately, this isn't going to do anything because it seems like right here, they are really building him for PvP. So depending on the formation that he's put in, this might not do anything unless his damage scales very, very high. Now looking at Shadow Hunt, so teleports behind the enemy that has dealt the highest damage, launches 3 strikes. So right there, very similar to what we see with an Iran type character, each dealing damage equal to 300% of the attack rating. Also applying the exposed effect, which is a debuff on there, reducing the enemy crit block rating 25 points and crit damage resistance 35 points. This might be effective when it comes to bosses. This could be something that we really see. And again, kind of playing his skills and abilities into other places in AFK Arena. Damage of the strike goes to 400, cannot be targeted for 3 seconds. Now this is huge. We know when you look at a hero like Iran, usually when they teleport to the enemy side, they get destroyed. They get absolutely crushed. Which I do not like, but we've seen it with a lot of different heroes. If there's no big damage mitigation, the hero gets devastated when they go to the enemy side because you have 2 or 3 enemies that all target the same hero. That is going to be big for the enemy side. For 4 seconds after the untargetable effect expires, he takes 35% less damage. That's going to be good. Enemies affected by exposed take 60% more damage for him, and that might make a big difference, again, where his damage is scaling. Then we have the solo leveling ability. Look at this. This is going to be awesome. For every 15 seconds that passes during battle, he levels up. Upon leveling up, he gains health equal to 100% of max health, recovers 1,000 energy. So this is going to be a full heal and an ultimate ability. And gain permanently boosts the attack rating, defense, and max health equal to 40, 40, 40 of the initial value. So again, thinking of a hero like this, if you can get the initial values much higher through something like the engraving or even additional furniture, it's going to make a big difference on where he is. Can also level 3 times the battle, which is huge. When deployed together, 70% of the effect will be granted to the other hero, Cha Haoin. I'm sure I absolutely butchered the pronunciation in there. But then Sung Jinwoo will also level up every time he completes 1 kill. Maximum number of level remains at 3. Then it goes to leveling up to 6, which is going to be insane. Upon leveling him up, the crit rating, crit damage, amplification, accuracy, and dodge are also increased by 20% of the value. Meaning if you're building this hero and you're building this hero out very, very high, that's going to be pretty broken when it comes to leveling up in combat. And of course, thinking of that 15-second barrier, not going to have a huge impact within the Nightmare Corridor, but thinking of a full fight like the Curse Realm that lasts 1:30, that could make a big difference in leveling up 6 times in battle. Then we have the signature items right here. When he deals damage to an enemy, he applies poison for 3 seconds. Enemy takes 120% of the attack rating every 1 second. Duration of poison doubles at the SI-10. And then look at that. The damage from poison is permanently increased by 50%. Can be triggered 4 times per battle. If the enemy suffers exposed while poisoned, they lose 150 energy. Again, PvP right there. While poisoned, enemies take 50% more damage, which is going to be huge because I don't know if that's going to work specifically on the bosses in AFK Arena. And then, of course, the furniture. Upon leveling up, he will cast Shadow Hunt an extra time, and the skill has no effect on the cooldown, which is awesome. And then the 9 of 9 upon leveling up, he gains a daily reward effect for 5 seconds. For the duration, he will ignore 25 of the enemy's damage resistance, and 50% of the damage will be a healing. Again, dealing with the issues of the survivability within the hero itself. So that seems pretty crazy. Even here, where when he levels up, you're going to trigger Shadow Hunt. This hero seems pretty broken overall. Cannot wait to see him when it actually comes to combat. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.